Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tulo Hoyane. The Senzo MEYIWA trial is a trial of, shocks and surprises. It's one of a kind. Just as Advocate Mnisi was rounding up his examination in chief of Absalom Zungu, it now all of a sudden emerges that the court says it takes the testimony of Absalom Zungu as triple hear evidence, which it will not even consider perhaps as things turn out. Baloyi also says, referring to the record, that they indicated at some stage that this was triple hearsay evidence and that they would not be leading Absalom Zungu. What a travesty we are hearing here. What is going on here? You see, Baloyi and Gininda have placed an affidavit, a false affidavit, and it is becoming quite clear that that is a false affidavit, according to the testimony of Absalom Zungu. But that evidence, even before Zungu's testimony, was before the Pretoria High Court as Exhibit UU. You'll recall that there were two visits that Gininda made to Absalom Zungu. It was after the second visit to Absalom Zungu, when Absalom Zungu had made it clear to Gininda that he had no interest in concocting evidence by way of a forged affidavit or a false affidavit, that it was after that second visit that the prosecution, after that second visit by Gininda, and Absalom Zungu's refusal to cooperate with Gininda or to have anything to do with Gininda, it was at that stage that Baloyi was in court indicating that they will not then call Absalom Zungu. You see how it proceeds? It first proceeds by way of evidence, forged evidence, a forged affidavit being put before the court, with the hope, perhaps by Baloyi and Gininda, that they will manage somehow to convince Absalom Zungu to depose to a false affidavit. Now, when their efforts fail, you now see everybody trying to distance themselves from that Exhibit UU. In fact, that Exhibit UU is not hearsay evidence. It is forged hearsay evidence. Because it is a forgery, before it can be referred to as hearsay evidence or to give it its proper name, it is forged hearsay, forged triple hearsay evidence. Now, Baloyi at this stage, because he's aware that Absalom Zungu is now before the Pretoria High Court testifying and rubbishing that forged affidavit, Exhibit UU, before the court, now you see them sort of not even taking that evidence or pretending not to take that evidence seriously. I would like you to listen to this clip. It is rather lengthy, but just listen to this and get a taste or a feel of where the court and Baloyi are going now in relation to this forged forgery, this forged affidavit. Just take a listen to this.
Ndodana yakho uZungu Sizwe Zungu futhi nomunye ufakazi wathi uBrigadier Gininda mayelana nesikhangiso nolwazi owalikhuluma wena ne wathi wena ke uyazi ukuthi umsola wokuqala futhi nowesibili ke badlala isikhangiso siphi ekushoneni kukamufi uSenzo MEYIWA.
Kwakusho ingane le.
Was that said by my son?
Yes, your son in Brigadier Gininda said.
But indodana yakho futhi nomzana uBrigadier Gininda basho kokulandelayo lalela ummeli
that you are the one who gave your son information that accused number 1 Muzi Sibiya and accused number 2 Ntanzi are complicit in the killing of Senzo.
But wena ke waletha ulwazi mayelana
for reasons, but it's not correct.
Yeah, no.
Yes, but yeah, we leave it there, but that's not the evidence.
No, it's not the correct evidence.
Yes, well, the evidence that this witness said he heard from Mbekiseni.
That's it.
Mbekiseni, who heard from the brother of Ntanzi. So it's like triple hearsay.
Triple hearsay. That's how I heard the evidence.
ngaba kumshushisi uthi akuyona ke indlela ufakazi lo baba lethwa ngayo lenkantolo ngoba bathi wena kwezwa ngogwabeni futhi ugwabeni naye wezwa ngomfo kanti wakubona Ntanzi omunye akuyona indlela inkulumo eqhamuka ngami mhlambe yavezwa ngayo la enkantolo manje sime simele ummeli akhulume.
That is very interesting, my lord. That the state is now all of a sudden saying that is triple hearsay. If it is triple hearsay, what did they allow Brigadier Gininda to proceed with that triple hearsay?
No. Please, it's me saying that.
Oh, that's the court?
Yes.
Okay.
I listen to the evidence.
And what counsel is saying is not correct.
No, quite.
From the outset, we've always said this witness evidence is triple hearsay evidence, and we are not going to call the witness. I can refer to the relevant portion, my lord. Yes, starting on the proceedings of 18 October 2024, page 36, line 7, the state said, my lord, we just requested the reference to what was said by Absalom Zungu be left out of account. And the court said, you are saying the reference to what was said by? We said, then we responded at line 10, reference as to what would have been mentioned by Absalom Zungu be left out of account as he has not been called as a witness. Then there is also another portion
Yeah, but that's irrelevant for this court.
yes.
The fact that the state prefers not to call Mr. Zungu Senior as a witness.
Yes, but
He's giving evidence in court now.
yes, but counsel is saying we let Brigadier Gininda on that, and we just wish to correct counsel that is not borne by the record. Also on 20 May 2025, line 10, we said the following: as the court pleases, the court will recall that at the inception of the evidence of Brigadier Gininda, we were at pains to avoid this hearsay evidence, that is now the evidence of Mr. Absalom Zungu. In fact, if I recall, the evidence of Brigadier Gininda was to the effect that he received a report from Mr. Absalom Zungu, because as court officials, we are aware that we may not lead hearsay evidence. And just towards the end of the page, we say the defense must therefore, my lord, we said that is the defense that introduced the evidence, and on page 11, we said the defense must lie on the bed that they've made since they've introduced the evidence. We said it cannot be retracted. It is on record, and that it must remain on record. And we said that the statement is already admitted, despite the fact that, as Advocate Munisi pointed out, it's triple hearsay evidence. And we say that is why we did not call Mr. Zungu Sr. to testify, as his evidence, according to Exhibit GU, amounts to triple hearsay evidence.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Zungu, I've got no further, what is it now? Examine Chief, I've got no further question to you. Thank you.
There you have it. All of a sudden now, this evidence, which was supposed to implicate accused 1 and 2 in the killing of Senzo MEYIWA, is now being, played down. And the people who introduced it in the first place, the owners of this forgery, are now saying, oh, well, it is now hearsay evidence, and, as everybody knows, hearsay evidence is inadmissible and so on. It is not hearsay evidence, like I'm saying. My standpoint is it is a forgery. That is what is in issue here. Before we can go into whether it is hearsay evidence, what is important is to look into the circumstances of how that evidence made it into court in the first place and what was the intention. It becomes hearsay evidence because Absalom Zungu refused to testify on behalf of the prosecution. And because Absalom Zungu refused to testify on behalf of the prosecution, there was no way that evidence was going to be admissible. Now, here is Absalom Zungu coming forward to say, no. The whole thing is a forgery. I never deposed to that affidavit. Gininda has forged the entire contents of the affidavit. He has even forged my signature and has falsely presented this affidavit before the Pretoria High Court. And for what purpose? The purpose is obvious, to falsely implicate 1 and 2, accused 1 and 2, in the killing of Senzo MEYIWA. So we cannot just, be treated like little children and just be told that this is now, this is hearsay evidence. That is not the important issue. The important issue is, how was that affidavit made? Who made it, and under what circumstances? And here's the maker, the so-called purported maker of the affidavit, coming forward to denounce and rubbish it. Now those who sought to use it are now distancing themselves in view of the fact that here is the man who's supposed to have disposed to that affidavit, rubbishing that affidavit. I am back to the issue of defeating the ends of justice. That was an act of defeating the ends of justice by Baloyi, acting in cahoots with Gininda by putting false evidence before the Pretoria High Court. Before we can talk about any hearsay, that is the starting point. And that is what Baloyi seeks to run away from now. He's now running away from this very affidavit which was placed before the court by the prosecution. And when Absalom Zungu now denounces it, they just want to play down the whole thing and say, oh, well, it is hearsay evidence and so on and so forth. It is not even evidence. To call it evidence is even, erroneous. It is a forgery. That is what it must be referred to as. So that is the issue that the Pretoria High Court must grapple with. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the subscriptions, likes, and shares that I'm seeing. A lot of you are encouraging me because when I said we are very close to the 12,000 subscriber mark, they said we are going to 15,000. Let's make it 15,000 subscribers and beyond. Thank you very much and have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.